religious background. How would you then describe that?
I think ambivalent might be the best, depending on which hat I'm wearing. So I'm devout. I'm deeply spiritual in terms of ancestor worship. The ancestors, I am as many 100,000 generations. They're all sitting in me. People I don't know, and then more recently, because I was elevated to be the head of a people. This is not that I was elected to the office. I'm chosen by God by the fact of my birth to lead these people uh, who identify with me. Most of them will never see me as I'm sitting in America, but they have uh, uh, a variety of reasons, the variety of religion expressions. Broadly speaking, you can say the Hindu or the Muslim or the Jain or the Buddhist or the Sikh. So I, as their so-called leader, must accommodate their understanding. So in that sense, I'm kind of eclectic in that I myself may be worshipping a particular deity, but I think my religion, if I can be so bold, is to see if I can at least have a shred of humility.
How can we actually make sure that our interrelationships with animals and with nature, there's also this kind of humility you were just mentioning?
Well, the first thing is, I think often we think that people who kill animals are bad people. Some of the most devout and most animal loving of people are people who actually hunt animals for sustenance. I'm not talking about the people in those factory farms where you have kitchens and hogs and cattle. Those are immoral people. I'm talking about the people who will worship the fish which they're taken from the salmon from the sea. And they take it as a benediction. They take it as even now they do it, when they are even more involved with the technology than they were before. They still understand. So now those people may be taking life, but they're not taking life in the way that's not respectful. It's not, they are the first preservers of it. They will not hunt a female a stag, they will hunt a male because one male can be replaced and can people a whole herd of female deer or antelope. So in that sense, they are actually guardians of the very things that they are representative. And the same thing goes for the carnivores. My notion of carnivores is they, and of other predators, the peak predators are not bad at all. They're doing a function of cleansing, they're doing a function of maintaining and invigorating. So in that sense, uh, the ones that I'm fearful of who carry goodness on their sleeve, people perhaps like me, who say we do all the right things, and then they will make sure that they will use pesticides or they will, use these technology and destroy the habit.
Issue on this planet nowadays is destroying of ecosystems and having issues like on the bigger level, like climate change, biodiversity loss. You mentioned the use of pesticides. So I think that's really a key problem, that we are destroying systems. But if you see that happening, what would you then think about how to change that?
The first thing, it's really a simple answer. You can't make any change unless you convince people about the idea of change. If somebody buys into your idea, as I buy into your idea of having this talk, then I'm already there. Then it's a question of execution. Many of the new policies, yes, they are saving, but what they save is they save target population. So the tiger will be saved, but at the expense of other animals. And So there's the whole notion of a whole world ecology that every, from the mosquito to the person you never see, eyeless fish in a cave in Australia, they are not given the same significance. You and I may have it because we have already an interest. We're walking in that direction. So the question is, it has to be a level of a competition against the notion of popular governance. Popular governance is always any person, whether it's, I'm not sure who your prime minister or president is, but he must answer to his constituency. His constituent does not include what you're talking about because the sky and the clouds don't vote, the animals don't vote. I think Pim's question is, how do we convince people to change their ways? Well, one of the ways is to listen to the sounds of the desert, the sounds of the rainforest, and to convene an orchestra of this kind of a feel good. Nobody's going to stay with this for a lifetime unless they are buying into it, and they are buying into it in meaningful ways. So I think the majesty of the world around us is there to tell stories as long as it's not human centric. In the world, unfortunately, as you have predicted, Anthropocene as the unfortunate. Uh, I mean, people think of it as the victory of the Homo sapien. But in fact, one may look at it exactly the reverse. It's in the self imprisonment of the Homo sapien. They have also deified or humanized certain pets, depending on what your interest is. If you're a very rich uh, resident in Dubai, you may have a lion or a tiger riding in your car as a pet. Uh, and in America, there are people of all kinds. But the dog and the cat is like a sacred animal. But it's animals is taken out of it and it's made into a some kind of human. So you equate the human, the animal to be human like my son, my daughter, my uncle, my whatever. So that is of course a show of affection that you can't do without this animal or this pet. But in that very act, you are also taking away something that it intrinsically is. And then, of course, when the time comes when that particular slot that you have put in your mind, that this is what the dog will do, you'll either get rid of the dog or you'll elevate it by putting it in a cemetery for the pet. So, in either way, what you've done is you have taken this particular life form, shriveled it to make it your own.
Although you said like as well, like we should not make animals slaves, and you also clearly said the overexploitation of animals is simply immoral.
You see,
And
even if you ride, like you ride horses
mm,
and you love whales, you can even ride a whale, right? Being a co-partner, I'm not saying don't ride a horse or don't milk a cow, but at the same time, don't reduce it to the milk jar, or don't reduce a horse to be taking 10 minutes to get you from place A to place B. I'm all for enlarging environments. I think rather than closing down and making uh, game parks smaller and smaller, I think as the lion and the elephant once walked right by you, maybe we should accommodate our particular areas to accommodate more for the existence of animals and insects and birds. So, and they are already happening not because we're doing it. They're doing it just because we're reducing their area. They're coming into our area, but they're coming in as immigrants, as refugees. We are not welcoming them.
There was a time when it was not in the interest of humans to kill animals. So I was more wondering, according to you, what is the missing link, do you think, to not act morally and let animals live? Is it just that the lust for meat is stronger, or how do you see that? Because like if we kill an animal, like it's not gonna come back to life. So how do you see that?
See, animals and the usefulness of animals, once upon a time, there were millions of horses. Today, we have very few horses. The reason the interdependency between horse and man has become so less with mechanization that now only we have only horses that are toys. They're not partners with you in life. Even as a animal that was in substitute subordination, working with you as a supporter. But now, in fact, the horse is coming to extinction because its purpose in life as it evolved became less. So that's an important lesson for us to know. The same thing could happen with sheep and goats and as well. So the killing of the animal, everything that lives is going to die. Everything that is born is either eaten or eats. It doesn't matter if you're a bacteria or if you're that's that, but it's the way in which that takes place. Exterminating life, exterminating a life potential of a lifetime, squishing it in the bud, torturing it, doing things that you, because of your will, that is where evil sits. Huge whale was trapped in one of its fins was trapped with the net, and the divers cut it out from it to rescue it. So those were that's a wonderful example of action, correct action.
Would you agree with me that respect for animals is kind of a first step to achieve a more thrivable or sustainable future?
Respecting animals is respecting life, and you're respecting yourself. You're not lessened because of it. You're becoming better for it. You're becoming fuller of it for yourself.